Hey guys, it's Jason with Kentucky Sustainable Living. It is a cold, snowy day here in Kentucky, and I figured it'd be a good time. I've got a lot of people that ask me. I talk to people quite a bit, always in conversation with people, and one of the biggest things is when they find out you start talking about preparedness and the prepping aspect of everything. They eventually the question comes up. It's like, how do I prepare? How do I start? What it's so overwhelming. I'm at nothing, and I just don't know what to do. So in this guide, we're going to talk about how to start prepping, kind of zero to prepared. Uh, so first, the first thing, I get so many people that are like, "Hey, how do I start off?" Uh, the first thing is, are you ready to take that step on being prepared? A lot of people are coming into the space on the preparedness space and the homesteading space also. But honestly, preparedness leads into homesteading, and homesteading is your ultimate preparedness aspect that you can have. Uh, so where do we start? The first thing, we kind of got to define what you're looking for as far as preparedness. My preparedness stuff, and I've written it down, is try to keep your life, you and your family's life as normal as you can in an emergency. So keeping everything as simple as you can and as normal as you can in an emergency is kind of my philosophy on the preparedness aspect of it. Uh, an example of that is the power goes out. I know right now we've got winter storms, cold weather, and all that. People's pipes are freezing and stuff like that. Uh, so, an example of that, electricity. Your electricity goes out. How can you keep your life as normal as you can if your electricity goes out at your house and it's not going to be back on for a little while? Of course, the easiest and fastest thing is to get a generator so you can still run a lot of the stuff in your house. So that's what we've got. We got multiple generators. I did a video. Check it out. We just got done with a video with it about generators and maintenance and stuff like that. So that's the thing. Have a generator sitting there ready to go. You probably won't be able to power your whole house, but you can power a lot of the stuff and keep everything as normal as you can in that emergency. Uh, some of the common, and you've got to define some of your potential risks, common risk. Common risk around here and across, most of the country, civil unrest, tornadoes, winter storms, economic collapse, and flooding. Those are some of the big things. We're not going to get into the zombie apocalypse, EMP, stuff like that. But that's still something, an EMP is something that, yeah, there's a significant threat that it might happen. But take a look in your area, define what you're going to get. If you live on the coast somewhere, hurricanes would be a big thing. It's all in your specific area. Look down and see what kind of natural disasters you've got. Of course, you could have civil unrest and economic collapse in any place where you live. So that's a given on all that. But go in and evaluate the specific risks that you've got in your area. So once you do that, then you can look at how much time and energy you've got to budget for resources and time. Prepping can also be, it's a financial thing. You prep, you have to buy some things. So look at your budget financially and your budget of how much time you've got to put in this. And yes, I've made some notes, spent several minutes writing down notes on all this so we wouldn't lose too much stuff and I wouldn't get too off on a tangent and forget about something. Another thing you've got to look at is starting to build. Once you've decided that you want to take this step and come from zero to prepared, you've got to look and start building your emergency kits and building your stockpiles of stuff. So one question you have to answer yourself is, how long are you preparing for? Are you preparing for just 72 hours, a 72-hour storm and the power's going to be back on? Are you planning for a week, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, or forever? So you really need to define that, because that's going to set on exactly how much you need to do. And we'll probably go into this greater detail. This is just going to be on a way to get you started in this without looking at it and pulling your hair out and going, oh my gosh, I don't know where to start. So you kind of need to determine how long you're going to be prepared for. Prepared for, no power, no government agencies helping you do anything. How long is the civil unrest going to last? Look at that, determine how long you want to be prepared for. And then the top four things that I look at as determining your needs and stuff. You're going to need food, water, shelter, and any necessary medications. Of course, food. You can go 3 weeks without food. It's not going to be fun. I can guarantee that. So one of the first things you need to look at is food. Getting your food storage built up. Water. You can only go 3 days without water. And this is all generic terms of what they say. 3 days without water. Your shelter. We're not going to touch into bugging out, having a bug out location, any of that stuff in this video. We're going to talk about just sheltering in place at your house, your apartment, your farm, wherever. So shelter. And then the last, any necessary medications. If you've got high blood pressure, if you're on blood thinner, any of the medications like that you have to live day to day, make sure you've got extra supplies of those. So, and then the amounts of all that stuff is going to vary greatly. On what you need, on how long you're planning on, being prepared for. You're going to have a lot less food and water if you're planning for just 72 hours than if you're planning for 6 months. So those quantities are going to vary greatly on that. Food. Start off the easiest way. People are like, well, how do I start my food storage? The easiest way is start getting extra stuff at the grocery store of what you eat, and building a supply of that. It's like I tell people, spaghetti is an awesome quick thing to show people. If you want to eat spaghetti one time a week for a year, that's going to be, and this is just going to be a quick down and dirty serving deal. You're going to need for a thing of spaghetti, you're going to need 1 pound of pasta, a thing of spaghetti sauce, and a pound of ground beef. So if you're going to eat that one time a week, multiply that by 52. So you'll need 52 pounds of ground beef, 52 things of spaghetti sauce, and 52 1 pound containers of spaghetti noodles. That will get you spaghetti. You'll be able to eat spaghetti for 1 week for a year doing that way. And you can go in there and look at it. If y'all eat a whole lot of bacon, figure out how much bacon you're going to eat and put that in there. But start, before you get into the long-term food storage, with Mylar, with freeze-dried food, beans, rice, all that stuff. Start with what you already eat. Build a pantry up. Instead of if you eat a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, don't just have one thing of Jif and one thing of jelly. Buy 2 or 3 extras of those, and then that will last you. If that can of peanut butter lasts you a week, and you've got 2 more on the shelf, that's 2 more weeks of peanut butter that you've got that you can eat on. So just build what you've got already and what you're eating, and do that, because honestly, in an emergency, the last thing you want to deal with is a huge big change in your diet right off the bat, because that's going to cause all kinds of intestinal issues, stomach and stuff like that you've got to deal with along with the emergency that you're dealing with. Food or water. Start off bottled water. I mean, if you're just doing 72 hours and planning for 72 hours, you've got a family of 4 or 5 cases of bottled water is going to go a long way with that. Work your way up. If you're going past the 72-hour mark, work your way up to the aqua trainers. They sell aqua trainers at Walmart. They're essentially 5 or 7 gallon water containers. You can fill those things up, stick them in the closet, and they're good to go for a super long time. If you keep going down that road, 55-gallon drums, food grade 55-gallon drums are the next step for you. That's a lot of water to store. They're fairly easy to store. You can store the things outside in the wintertime. Just make sure, if you need those, that they're not frozen solid. Here in Kentucky, typically those things will not freeze solid. And if they do, it's not, we don't have a deep, super chill like you would in Minnesota or something like that. Your next step after that, the IBC totes, the 275 gallon or the 330 gallon IBC totes. That 275 gallons, that's a lot of water. That's going to last you a good amount of time. But you've still also got to scale that on how long you're going to be prepared, on how long you're preparing for. Your shelter, and we're going to shelter in place. We're not bugging out, anything like that. Your shelter is your house. If the power goes out, anything like that, you're going to need a way to have power at your house, to heat it, to keep your freezers, refrigerators going. You're going to need a way to keep your house warm. If you're running all electric heat, it's going to take a good sized generator to run that electric heat. Things you can do, propane heaters, like the Little Buddy propane heaters. Those things, I use it to keep my shop and bathroom down here, or my office and a bathroom down here in the shop warm when we're doing stuff. I've got it running right now. It's 68 degrees in here, and it hadn't been on hardly any time. They also make wall mount propane heaters. You can do that. They take no electricity whatsoever. They'll keep areas of your house warm. You can also close off part of your house just to keep the areas that you're in warm. The ultimate is a wood stove, to have a wood stove installed in your house and have a good supply of wood there. Necessary medications. I touched on it before. These are medications that you need every day to keep you alive. You need to have some of those extra on hand, even if you're prepping for just 72 hours or if you're prepping for 6 months. You need those necessary medications or the herbal alternative of those drugs. So we'll move on. Once you've got your basics down that we just went over, your food, water, shelter, and necessary medications, then you can start building on other things in there. One of the first things is a first aid kit. First aid kit and over-the-counter medications. Your first aid kit can include everything from Band-Aids to boo-boos to, antibiotics, surgical kits, all that. But that comes with training, and that gets down a whole new rabbit hole. But have your necessary stuff in your first aid kits to treat minor wounds, burns, bleeds, stuff like that. And we can get into first aid kits later on as we develop some of these videos. Another thing, flashlights, candles, batteries. You're going to need some kind of light. Even though if you've got a generator running and you've got lights on in the house, you don't want to run your generator all the stinking time just to have lights in your kitchen. So candles and flashlights, and of course extra batteries for that. Another thing to have is your generator. We've touched on that, and along with the generator is cords. Just because you've got a generator, you're going to need some way to get power from your generator to the appliances and the stuff in your house. So you're going to need a lot of extension cords and three-way plugs for that. Security measures. We're not going to touch too much in that. I think everybody knows what I mean. You're going to need some way to defend yourself with pew-pews, whatever. Different cooking methods. Yes, you can still, if you've got a big enough generator, it will run your stove, but you're burning a lot of gasoline with your generator just to cook some stuff on an electric range. So maybe have an alternative cooking method. One of the best things is your gas grill. As long as you got propane for it, you can cook and do a lot of stuff on that. Hygiene and sanitation supplies. That goes from soap to toothpaste to extra toothbrushes, extra deodorant, all that kind of stuff, feminine products and everything. Of course, it all depends too, how much you need of that is how long you're prepping. You're not going to need a whole lot of that for 72 hours, but you're going to need a lot of that if you're prepping for a 6-month ordeal. Communications, ham radios. That's another thing you need to get trained in. You can go all the way from a cheap $30 Baofeng up to, a $1,500 HF radio setup. So we'll touch some more on that in later videos and stuff. But communications, you want to know what's going on in the outside world if your cell phone doesn't work. home maintenance tools, stuff like that. That's everything from some scrap wood to tarps to nails to screws to, just your small hand tools and stuff like that. If you've got to make some kind of repairs, if you've got a tornado that blows through and blows a bunch of your shingles off your roof, you need a way to patch your roof up until you can get the roof fixed on it. That's where tarps and roofing nails and stuff like that come in great handy. And one thing that a lot of people overlook is entertainment. Yes, in a long-term emergency situation, there's going to be a lot of stuff to do. You're not going to be sitting around going, hey, I wish Netflix worked because I'd really like to watch the new series of Yellowstone. But in a short term, people are going to get bored if the TV's not working, stuff like that. We've got tons of we got tons of board games, card games, paper, crayons, markers, all that stuff to keep people entertained, and especially the kids. Books are another great thing to have for people to keep them entertained in their downtime. Switching gears, once you've got all this established, you really need to go with it and have a family emergency plan and develop that emergency plan. And I scratched down some stuff, some questions you need to answer, and questions you need to ask yourself and have answers to. Who's doing what? Who is coming to your house? What are they bringing? When are they all coming? And how are they going to get there? Those are some questions that you need to sit down with your family and solve those questions and hammer all the details out on that. Also, developing your skills. Too many people just go out and just buy stuff to make them feel good. They'll go out, they're like, oh yeah, I'm starting to prep. I went and bought 2 or 3 72-hour buckets. That's great to do that. You're well ahead of a lot of people, but too many people think that they can just buy their way into prepping. There's a lot of skills that go along with that. Skills, you can never take skills away. You can't lose those skills, the majority of the skills that you've got. If a tornado comes through and blows away all your freeze-dried foods, you've still got skills on how to do other things. That goes along with getting training. A lot of the training I'll recommend to you, first one is medical training. There's so much stuff. If everybody's snowed in and you've got an accident that happened at your house, your homestead, whatever, you need to know how to treat that. So get good, reliable medical training on that. Your tactical training. That goes along with security at your homestead, your house. Get some tactical training. Bushcraft stuff, that's great. We're not going to talk whole much about bugging out, doing bushcraft, living in the woods, in a loincloth and a teepee and rubbing sticks together. But get some bushcraft training. It's good. Get your homestead knowledge. Especially a lot of people are buying small acreage, getting a few animals, stuff like that, starting to develop their homestead. There's all kinds of awesome places to learn homestead knowledge. Communications training is another one. Your radios, disaster communications. There's great places to get training for that. And then kind of people are like, ask me, how do I get involved in it? How can I find more people? The number one best thing to do for finding like-minded individuals is all the festivals that are going on. Yes, we've got a festival coming up in March. I'm not trying to plug it, but it's going to be a great place to meet people. There's Self-Reliance Festival in Tennessee. That's a great place to meet like-minded people. There's Midwest Preparedness also. That's a great place to meet people. There's also online forums, chat rooms, stuff like that, Facebook groups, and all that where you can meet people on there, get ideas, share ideas with people, talk to them. There's also local communities like ours, like Kentucky Sustainable Living. We've got a group of people in Kentucky that are like-minded individuals that think the same, that we meet face to face. Yes, we can talk on the World Wide Web and everything, but we actually do meet in person and talk and do stuff like that. So that's one way to connect with everybody. And kind of closing it out, putting a bow on it. It's not hard to start prepping. You've just got to start and take the first step on everything. Keep it simple. Don't go out and be like, oh my gosh, I'm prepping for the zombie apocalypse and civil war, and we're never going to have a country again, and I'm going to be on my own for the rest of my life. If you start out doing that, you're just going to be so scatterbrained that you won't know what to go. Start out with 72 hours. After your 72 hours, build up to a week. After you've got everything done for a week, build up to 2 weeks and just keep going. After you get 2 weeks, build up to a month. After you get a month, build up to 3 months. And then it's just taking those small baby steps. After you get 3 months, 6 months, and then go on to a year and just keep building that up. Guys, it's not too hard. I'd like to you down in the comments, put some other stuff you'd like to hear about as far as the preparedness aspect, and we'll be working on those. If you found something valuable, like and subscribe, hit the like button. That helps everything. But I appreciate it, and I hope everybody is nice and warm and not having to do too much outside in the cold and snow. See y'all later.